Oder mal gespannt, wie jetzt geht.
I'm Jonathan Rogers from Grinding Gear Games, and today we're here to showcase a new expansion for PoE 1. It's certainly been too long since we had one of these. Now, we had some struggles as a studio for a little while there, but we've got our shit together and we're back in action now. Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas is coming out 1 week from now on the 13th of June, and we're committing right now to a 4-month cycle for both PoE 1 and 2. That means the next PoE 2 League will be in August, and the next PoE 1 League after that will be in October. Twitch drops are enabled on today's livestream, so you'll be able to claim your Skull of Undeath helmet skin by following the instructions below. This Skull of Undeath will track and show your total number of kills, deaths, and your KDR. Just because Path of Exile isn't a first-person shooter doesn't mean this isn't important. Proudly or shamefully, link it to your friends or in global chat to show it off. And with that, let's get to why you're here.
Der ist schon geil, der
Secrets
Helm.
of the Atlas.
You can search 1,000 worlds and still never truly discover who you are. Trust me. I should know. But now, I seek something more tangible. Someone I care for, trapped within the Atlas. Reliving memories, made real.
What have you done?
Made grotesque. Made foul.
What?
These manifestations must be destroyed.
Das ist die League-Mechanik, what the fuck?
Must be eradicated. I must have answers.
Oh.
We must find the originator. We must save.
Also das ist eine Boss-Mechanik, oder? Ich krieg so ein bisschen Metamorph-Vibes gerade. Oder? Nee. Hä? Wellen kommen auch an? New Pinnacle Bosses, New Crafting Mechanics. A completed King's March. Das ist direkt ausgebaut! Ja! Runecrafts, Betrayal Reworked. And more including... Junge, was? Mercenaries of... Warte, wie viel kommt denn? Alter.
Your sanity is not promised to you here.
Alter.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. As you just saw from the trailer, there's a lot to show you. Today, we will take you on a deep dive into the new Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas endgame update. Then, we'll explore the new Challenge League, the Mercenaries of Trathus. After that, we'll cover the integration of gold into PoE 1 and how we're bringing Settlers of Kalgur into the core game. Finally, we have a much-awaited upgrade to Betrayal League and a set of quality of life improvements. Then, we'll wrap up by discussing our Boss Kill race event, showing you our new supporter packs, and ending with a live Q&A session where Ziggy D will ask Jonathan and I your questions from Twitch chat. In Path of Exile Secrets of the Atlas, strange rifts have begun to appear across the Atlas. Zana has returned and appears to be trapped within. Partway through the endgame, you will meet Egan, an intelligent man of mysterious heritage. These tears in reality he has discovered are actually threads of memory, distorted and made real by the Atlas. Egan is able to create a link to these memory threads and open portals to them. Working with Egan, you must step through and find Zana, or whatever remains of her. Okay, so that's the story background, but how does this expansion actually work? In the Secrets of the Atlas, the pursuit of Zana with Egon is a new storyline that is introduced in high-tier maps. Upon meeting Egan and discovering the tier, he will then transfer it to your map device and reveal this on your Atlas. A thread of memories.
Sieht interessant
In
aus.
order to now access each map on the thread, you simply need to talk to Egan when you're ready, and he'll open the areas in sequence. These areas can be fully influenced by your Atlas
Was ist das jetzt? Hallo?
tree, scarabs, fragments, and everything of the sort. As you work your way along the thread, you will discover that these maps have manifested dangerous threats, influenced by the memories of Zana herself. Monsters here are imbued with memory petals. Defeat them to absorb this power, which can be unleashed as a special ability during combat. Different maps on the thread have different abilities, and these abilities appear on an additional mini skill bar next to your regular skills. For example, Memory of Disbelief will cause all affected monsters to stop dropping equipment items, meaning they can now only drop more valuable items, like currency and maps. Memory of Panic will make all affected monsters revive immediately after death, which means you can get twice as much experience and drops from them.
Alter, was?
And Memory of Impatience will cause all surrounding enemies to give you their souls, temporarily
das wird
increasing
eine
your power.
geile
As you progress further into the thread of memories, the maps can have more than one memory, and thus you can have more than one powerful ability.
Das sieht jetzt schon geil aus.
As you gather memory petals, you can use these powers
Ich liebe
together.
so Leaks, wo einfach
Each
ganz viele
skill
Gegner
costs its
kommen.
own amount of memory petals. So using the examples above, you can first use Memory of Impatience to become way more powerful, then use Memory of Panic to prepare them to revive when they are slain,
What the fuck?
then use Memory of Disbelief to cause them to drop better, more valuable items. Finally, obliterate them all. The Memory of Panic will kick in, causing them to revive, and then wipe them out again, allowing you to get all the experience and enhanced drops twice. There are
Ach, hör
many
auf, ey.
combinations of these powers, so you'll have to carefully consider how they best work together. That's not the only extra layer of content juicing these maps offer. As you defeat the boss of each map along the thread, you are presented with an altar. This altar will apply a modifier to all
What?
following maps in the thread.
Das
And
auch
these will
noch.
stack as you go. So the deeper you delve into a memory, the more mods you will have. This,
Alter.
combined with the special abilities, will allow for some of the most juice maps ever run in Path of Exile. Let's
glaube, das
take a
wär
look at some of the
komplett
altar
juicy, ey.
mods. You are always presented with two choices and must pick one. This mod, for example, will cause some rare monsters to be possessed by tormented spirits, where this mod makes Kerak modifiers free to craft. Both of these apply to all subsequent maps in the thread. The final map in each thread is a true challenge, with all the altar mods applying to it and guarded by a powerful boss. Each of these bosses are familiar,
Wie geil.
like drawn from Zana's memories and warped by the Atlas into something very different and terrifying.
Also, das sieht jetzt, also das ist ein
In
komplettes
this map, you will
Atlas-Rework, ey.
fight the pinnacle boss, Cirrus. Fueled by Zana's
Komplett.
affectionate memories of him, his enhanced abilities can prove to be a unique challenge. If you manage to defeat Cirrus, or one of the other warped memory bosses, they will drop a map fragment, which Egan can use to delve deeper into the memory tears.
Hä, wie geil.
With these, you can access a set of 3 new pinnacle bosses. In this arena, the Moment of Reverence, Zana is reliving a memory of her father, Valdo, giving a passionate speech in Oriath. The Atlas distorts this memory of her father as a powerful, influential man and manifests those emotions into a twisted nightmare, the incarnation of dread. Another
Holy.
memory created is the incarnation of neglect and the incarnation of fear. Good luck, exiles. Of course, if you are brave and strong enough to defeat them, each of these new pinnacle bosses have new unique items befitting them. If you slay the incarnation of fear, you might be lucky enough to find the Starcaller
Powerful.
unique abyssal axe. We're gonna show this one because it's straight up badass.
Ja.
The Starcaller axe is a weapon that can
What?
harness the power of the stars themselves to deal immense damage. What makes it shine, however, is that on melee crit, it casts Starfall, a new skill. With the
Junge,
right build,
was?
you can carpet entire areas and wipe out screens of enemies as you rain down
Junge,
the elements
was?
upon them. Another item you may find, and this one is my favorite, is the Wine of the Prophet unique flask.
Random
It
divination buff.
consumes a lot
What?
of charges, but every time you use it, you draw a random divination card.
Hä?
This card appears above you and correlates to a powerful buff. If you draw the escape card, you'll gain increased movement speed. Or maybe you'll draw the Doctor, which will cause you to gain the modifiers of slain rares you kill. Effectively,
Ey, was sind das für
you can
geile
think of
Items?
this unique as being many other uniques all in one. There are many cards to draw, each with varying degrees of power to grant.
Wie geil ist das?
Okay, but let's get back to the Atlas. After defeating all 3 new Pinnacle bosses, you'll be able to find new memory-influenced Tier 16 maps. These maps come with the previously mentioned special abilities and monsters infused with memory petals, but can also roll the same modifiers typically found on Tier 17 maps, making them far more rewarding. With all
Ist
these
doch
new
geil, dass
memory
sie da so
maps
kochen
comes a
gerade.
new item mechanic.
Komplett
Items in
geil.
these maps can drop with memory strands, and will have a random amount.
So
up
Bock
to
da
100.
reinzugehen.
This does a few things. When you identify the item, it will increase the tiers of modifiers your item has. Generally speaking, the more memory strands, the better the item will be. On top of this, whenever you're crafting that item using currency orbs to replace or add modifiers, such as alterations, chaos, and so forth, it will consume some memory strands to make the crafted mods more powerful. The new Pinnacle bosses also drop new crafting currencies, which can be used to manipulate the amount of memory strands on an item. The Orb of Remembrance will let you add memory strands to any normal equipment. So if you have your perfect base to craft on, and it doesn't already have memory strands, you can add some before crafting it.
Auf. Ja, auf. Wie geil wird das
Orb of
Crafting auch
Unravel will
alleine
consume
dadurch.
all remaining memory strands on an item to randomly upgrade its mod tiers. This orb's effectiveness is based on the number of memory strands it consumes. The Orb of Intention can be used on memory influence maps to reduce item drops, but improve the chance to find items with memory strands. In the process of adding these new currency items, we realized something was missing. The Shaper and the Elder did not have their own Exalted Orbs. This has now been rectified. Both bosses now have Exalted Orbs, which can add their influence to an item. Zana was there from the beginning, when the Shaper Pinnacle fight was first added. She helped defeat the Elder, and she was a critical part of the
Einfach
Conqueror's story.
Exalted Orbs
Now, with
von
all
den
6
Bossen,
influence types
also von
having their
den
own
Pinnacle
Exalted
Bossen.
Orbs, the cycle is
Willst du mich
complete.
verarschen?
It's almost as if we could now do some sort of new, epic, unique item to interact with them.
Hör auf.
In other
Hör
news,
auf.
there of course
Boah, ich will
has
rein
to
da
be
jetzt.
Atlas passive tree support for this new in-game content. Let's take a look at a few things we're adding. The Grasp the Past notable passive skill increases the chance for the amount of memory strands on items dropped in your memory influence maps to be lucky. This means it will roll the number of memory strands twice, keeping the highest value. By allocating traumatic experience, remembered kindness, or educated upbringing, you'll decrease the chance of finding memory threads that lead to specific bosses, meaning you'll have better chances at finding the memory threads you would like to run.
Ja gut, Crafting war vorher schon besser im PoE 1. Definitiv. Alleine das ist schon besser als PoE 2 Crafting. Nur von der League.
The secrets of the Atlas will have you questioning what is real, as you attempt to free Zana from warped memories scattered throughout the Atlas.
Ach so.
Fight new Guardian and Pinnacle bosses tormenting her, find crazy new Pinnacle uniques, combine and unleash memory petal-empowered skills, juice maps to new heights, and craft powerful new items. While we were showing all the juicy rewards from the new in-game system, you might have noticed that a lot of gold was dropping. Let's talk about that. Gold was
Definitiv ist
introduced
PoE 1
during the
länger
Settlers
draußen,
of
natürlich.
Kalgur expansion. It funded the development and operations of King's March, along with various new features such as the currency exchange, the black market, and the passive respec system with Faustus. Those features offered by Faustus will be here to stay, along with some of the other services King's March has to offer. We'll get more into that later, but don't worry, King's March has already been completed. There will be no more town building.
Ja!
Like before, gold will be used for town services, but we're also
Nicht mehr
adding
diese
a
scheiß
new way
Stadt
to use
bauen.
it in the upcoming league. it's time to talk about Mercenaries of Trathus. In this league, you will meet veterans who have traveled all the way from the lawless cities of Trathus. They're ready to offer their sinister services, but not for free. You will encounter these mercenaries as you journey through Rayclast, one in each area. They have their own personalities and come with different builds, skills, and items already equipped.
Ach, das ist quasi so wie die Rogue Exiles in PoE 2,
they will
oder?
challenge you to a duel, a test of strength and conviction.
Nee.
Before beginning the duel, you will be offered an overview of the mercenary you've encountered.
Ah.
Here, you can see the gear they have equipped, the skills they employ, and any support effects augmenting those skills. You must now
krass.
make a choice. You can hire their services, take one of their items, or exile them. If you choose to hire them, for a gold cost, they will accompany you as a skilled combatant to assist you in fighting monsters throughout Rayclast.
Was?
Once you've decided, you can begin the duel. This is a great opportunity to test them, as
Hat
you
nicht
don't
gerade
want
auf
to
Hire
be out of
geklickt?
pocket with a useless rookie. However, they're testing you too. They also don't want to be working for an amateur. So,
Ach so.
what items might they be using? Generally speaking, mercenary gear is more powerful than what you'd normally find from defeating monsters, as they've been crafting their items too. They can also come equipped with unique items, those that would make sense for the skills they are using. There are even some new unique items that can only be obtained from defeating them. One such unique is Scornflux. These boots combine agility with the mastery of the arcane. While equipped, increases to cast speed from Arcane Surge also apply to movement speed, which is worth
Übel
noting
cool.
is now 20% inherently from Arcane Surge, up from 10. They also grant Arcane Surge when you use a movement skill. This allows for some speedy spellcasters. Sometimes you may meet particularly infamous Trathan mercenaries, bearing the name of their house. These mercenaries descend from the 4 major death trade families in Trathus. They are less common, but have far better items. And they are also the sole source of items with new, infamous modifiers, unseen before in Rayclast, such as these gloves, which convert all of your minions' fire damage to chaos damage. Or this helmet, which causes nearby enemies to take more physical damage as you gain more fortification. If you're not swayed by any of their equipped gear, however, you can always challenge them for the contents of their pockets. If you lose the duel, don't worry. You don't need to give them an item. You aren't bound to Trathan tradition like they are. However, you are bound to Rayclast tradition, so you'll just die.
Almost
Ah.
had me. Well, not really.
While
Junge,
playing
das wär
in
übel geil,
Arc,
wären die Rogue
each
Exiles in
player
PoE 2
can
so.
decide whether or not they want to participate in combat against the mercenary. For each player that opts in, the mercenary gets more difficult. But if they're defeated, each player has a 50% chance to get a random reward, which is usually currency items from the mercenary's pouch. Alternatively, party members that opt out of the fight can spectate and cheer you on. Or they might wish for your demise, so they can pick up that allocated divine waiting off screen.
Dead. Good.
Was? Die klauen einfach Loot.
Let's say you won the duel, like their items, and have decided to hire them.
Die klauen Loot, wenn die
What
dich
combat
killen, oder
skills do
was?
they bring to the table? Each mercenary has an archetype. Here, this mercenary is an Eruptor, which perfectly couples with my slower, more aura-focused Scion.
Hä, wie
This mercenary
geil.
is highly aggressive, and will get a lot of benefit from the auras and buffs I provided.
Du kannst einfach einen Aura-Bot damit kriegen, oder
When I'm
was?
playing a more aggressive character myself, though, I'll want a mercenary with a bit
Aber
more
ist nur für die Map
resilience
da,
and
ne? Ist
utility.
nicht für immer.
I've just run into a Striker, who can spawn with Vigilant Strike. And if you're lucky,
das sind die tatsächlich
a
immer
very
da.
rare golden support
Hab ich jetzt noch nicht so
that causes
verstanden.
the Fortify granted by his Vigilant Strike to apply to me as well.
Ah.
He will also frequently use Enduring Cry, taunting enemies off of me, and operating as a tanky frontline while I blitz off damage from the back. Sometimes when you fight a mercenary, you may notice the skills they're using are different from normal.
Ja, Aerox hätte ja
For
gesagt, das
example,
zusammenreihen, aber
This sniper is using a
bin leider das
Trathan
Wochenende nicht
version
da.
of Siege Ballista. If you're
heißt,
lucky,
ich gehe erst Montag
you'll be able
richtig
to
rein.
select that as your reward when challenging them. then defeat them and they'll drop the
Hat mir
Trathen
auch so
gem as
römische
promised.
Rüstung Vibes gegeben.
You can only have one mercenary accompanying you at a time, but up to 3 total in your service. The other 2 will wait patiently in town.
Genau, Montag rein.
Having varied options is useful, as there may be situations where you need specific backup, like a difficult boss fight.
Wenn du Bock hast.
Any of your mercenaries you have active or in your reserves
Aber du startest
can
wahrscheinlich
have
direkt
their
morgens,
equipment
ne?
replaced with items of your choosing. They don't level up, so you will want to be looking out for more skilled and more powerful mercenaries as you advance through the campaign and endgame.
Auch, aber ist
If
wild,
your
oder?
mercenary falls in
Wild.
combat, you will need to return to town and spend some gold on healing supplies to get them back on their feet. Then perhaps consider giving them some upgrades, if you think it's deserved. I just wanted to clarify, mercenaries do not lose their equipment when defeated. If your merc buddy consistently fails you, you can just dismiss them and find a new, more resilient ally.
Hä? Die kann man equippen? Nee, Moment, du kannst den Gear klauen.
Earlier, I
Also die
mentioned
chillen
you could
wirklich bei
exile
dir.
mercenaries.
Lol.
If you keep running into a mercenary archetype and you think, man, this guy stinks, their gear is trash and they have no auras, you can then choose to exile them. If you win the duel, they'll be forced to leave with their tail between their legs, and you won't encounter that archetype again for a while. Now, alongside these new Trathen arrivals, we shouldn't forget about the recent Kalgurin ones too. As we mentioned earlier, the Settlers update introduced gold-based respeccing of passive points. You can now do so by talking to a number of NPCs throughout Rayclast, starting with Bestel
Aber das
and
Montag nicht
Lionized
frei, oder?
Watch. Black market item gambling, previously just available in Kingsmarch, is now available in each town at the same NPC.
Ach, hör auf.
This lets you buy randomly generated item bases for gold.
Was?
Very useful if you're stuck for upgrades or searching for a specific unique.
Morgen 2 Wochen Urlaub.
The
Nice,
currency
perfekt.
exchange will be returning too. Starting from Lionized Watch in Act 6, you'll be able to find Faustus, who can help facilitate these trades. Now, after almost a year of building, Johann
Dann
is
war immer
finally
gut.
satisfied with the upgrades made to the town, and now its services can be used to their full effect. Kingsmarch is going core, but there will be no more town building. As you start running maps in the endgame, you'll start to find different ore veins, which Kalgurin workers can mine for you. The shipping mechanic invites you to send these ores and crops to Karui and Kalgurin ports, and they'll return rewards in kind. By sending shipments, you'll receive different items, but by sending to Karui ports, you will also receive tattoos, which can be used on your passive tree to change what stats they grant. The Kalgurin
Was?
ports will be sending back rune grafts, which is a new passive tree mechanic that replaces the runesmithing service previously offered by the town. These are similar to tattoos, but instead of replacing stat nodes, they replace a passive tree mastery node. For example, Runegraft of the Bound reduces bonuses gained from boots, but increases bonuses gained from gloves.
Und alle dachten so, PW1 ist tot.
Runegraft of the River has a chance to recover your life to full
Junge,
if you
dieser,
reach low
also,
life.
what the fuck? Was passiert
And the
da?
Runegraft of Time, which has a chance for your cooldown skills to instantly recover from their
Die
cooldown.
gucken ja richtig,
Which I
ey.
will note includes cooldowns on your triggers, just in case you wanted to trigger even more spells. There are many other rune grafts which cover a wide range of different builds and stats. Some are more common and others rarer. You can only use one of a given type at a time, but you can use them on any mastery on your passive tree, which can be particularly useful for off-class investment. Isla has continued to make modifications to the Recombinator. She has developed a new method of recombination that you may recognize from Path of Exile 2. For those unfamiliar, this method allows you to decide which modifiers on the 2 input items you want to try merge together, and it has a success chance you can see.
Macht doch dieselbe Scheiße nicht noch in
This
PW1.
method can
Entschuldigung.
result in the items being destroyed.
Ich hatte
However,
Flashbacks.
it is a good option to use when trying to create items with fewer mods to use as crafting projects. Given the existing recombinating mechanic was very powerful for top-end crafting, we didn't want to remove it.
Ja,
We
der
have
Scheiß
kept
kommt auch in
it, and you can
PW1.
now choose to use it the old way or the new way. By letting fate decide, it will combine the 2 items randomly. There is no risk of destroying either item, but it will be less predictable. As Settlers is now a core mechanic, we've also added Atlas passive tree support. For example, if you wanted to gather more Verisium ore, you could take this notable. Each ore has a similar node. Refiner's Bargain converts items dropped by possessed monsters into thaumaturgic dust, sulfite into random ores, and life force into random crops. We've also added a set of Kalguran Scarabs, so you can add more ore deposits, increase the rarity of monsters that guard ore deposits to at least magic, or gather smelted bars from ore you mark instead of ores. To sum it all up, Kingsmarch is now a thriving town where you can employ a swath of workers to collect resources, refine ores, craft items, and run maps for you. Send shipments of resources in exchange for tattoos and rune
Ach, die
grafts,
Schiffe gibt's auch noch.
using those to modify your passive tree to an
Aber
extent
das mit
never
dem
seen
Modifying
before.
ist halt geil. Ist geiler als irgendwelche
Following on from
Five-Links
that,
einfach so for
we've
free zu
also made a
bekommen.
substantial rework to another
Oh,
important
das wird
mechanic,
interessant noch.
Betrayal.
Das wird interessant.
As a
Betrayal immer geil
refresher,
gewesen schon,
and to
fand ich.
explain to new players, let's briefly explain what Betrayal is. Betrayal is a mechanic introduced in Act 9 and tells the story of Jun Ortoi and her investigation of the Immortal Syndicate. This is a mysterious group of exiles who can seemingly come back from death. You must help Jun to uncover their leader, the Syndicate Mastermind. The Immortal Syndicate is organized into 4 divisions: Transportation, Fortification, Research, and Intervention. As you encounter the Immortal Syndicate members, you'll gain intelligence for each of these divisions to discover the location of their leaders, tracking them to their safe houses. Defeating the division leaders at their safe houses will reward you with intelligence on the Syndicate Mastermind. In your journey to track down the Syndicate leader, you'll manipulate the members of the Immortal Syndicate to change divisions, form friendships and rivalries, and even banish them from the Syndicate for a time.
Okay, und was neu?
Historically, after encountering and defeating the Syndicate Mastermind, the state of the Immortal Syndicate would reset, requiring you to start from the beginning of the investigation again. This has always been a difficult decision for players and can often feel bad. Do you fight the Mastermind for a chance at the special loot, or keep farming the safe houses that you've spent so long setting up?
Bleibt es danach jetzt?
Well, in the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've split out the Mastermind to be completely separate from the core mechanic. The boss
Hör
is now
auf, ey.
accessible through a new fragment that has a chance to drop
Hör
from the
auf.
safe house leaders at high levels. The Mastermind no longer resets the state of the Immortal Syndicate.
Geil. Geil.
You
Log
can
in.
now build your betrayal board to your liking,
Log in.
optimize it, do Mastermind fights, and reap the rewards without having to lose all your progress every time. The boss fight itself has also been improved, now with significantly fewer immunity phases and new rewards. By the way, if you're a new player to Path of Exile 1, don't worry about all this detail. This content is optional, and you can discover and engage with it at your own pace. The Mastermind still has a chance to drop a Veiled Orb, now renamed to Veiled Exalted Orb. Veiled Chaos Orbs are being re-added to other safe house leaders. In addition, the Mastermind now drops the new All Flame Embers. All Flame Embers are map fragments that replace monster packs in in-game maps with different types of special monsters. These packs have unusual properties, compositions, or rewards.
Ja, machen wir
For
die Akte dann
example,
auch zusammen
you
und
might
so?
use
Ich
the
habe noch nie
All
mit jemandem
Flame Ember of
zusammengespielt, ne?
Kulamak, which replaces packs with Syndicate monsters and their leaders, who revive after the map boss has been slain. This might at first sound annoying due to backtracking, but these monsters when revived are far more intense and rewarding. It is our intention with All Flames to provide many different types that combine with other mechanics, multiplying with your existing modifiers in new and interesting ways. Another good example of this
Also Rob und
is the
Frenchie haben
All
das so
Flame
gemacht.
Ember of Propagation. When slain, special rare monsters added by this All Flame here will spread their modifiers to other rare monsters in the map. This can be useful when trying to create singular, very powerful, and very rewarding monsters.
Können auch beide
Something
erstmal die
akin
Akte
to
machen und dann
Meat
später.
Sacks, which are making a
Wäre auch eine
reinvented
Idee.
comeback with this update too. Another is the
Weil die Akte dauern zu
Orphan
zweit
Ember
auf
of
jeden Fall länger.
Resplendence, which adds monsters that drop no items. But when you slay them, you get buff stacks of increased quantity and rarity to enhance the drops of all other monsters. All Flame Embers can be placed in your map device like scarabs, and used in conjunction with scarabs to further customize your maps. We're looking forward to seeing which combinations players find to enhance their maps. Perhaps you'll use all scarabs, all flames, or maybe mix and match. It's up to you. The Mastermind's unique items have also been improved. The veiled modifiers generated on these items are now from a custom pool exclusive to those uniques. Bitterbind Point, for example, can now have various Spectre-specific outcomes.
Ray Spectres feiert
as
2
+1
additional
Spectre.
projectiles?
Aside from improved rewards from the Mastermind, all the Safe House rewards have also been rebalanced.
Vielleicht doch Minions spielen.
We've done a pass on the crafting sprees at the end of
Ich will
many
Minions
safe
spielen.
houses. For those who aren't aware how these crafting
schon wieder
sprees
baiten.
work, well, it's simple. There's a crafting bench with an item in it and a bunch of currency. There's a limited amount of time,
Craft as
and your
much
only
as you
objective is to craft
can?
the best item possible before the time ends. One of the problems that the crafting sprees have is that they often require you to have specific items on hand in order
What
to
the
best
fuck?
maximize your result. But how are you supposed to know that beforehand? In order to solve this, most of the crafting sprees now offer pre-generated items. This has also allowed us to add much more
Junge, wie
powerful crafting
geil.
options in each spree. Let's take a look at a few examples. In this spree, a randomly generated amulet or ring will be waiting for you. Test your crafting skill or luck with this Reflecting Mist crafting spree, and see if you can create something worthy of Kalandra's praise. And in this spree, you will find a pre-generated unique item, and a new kind of orb that resembles a Val orb, but not quite the same. Normally, you can only corrupt an item once, but uniques in this spree can be corrupted and re-corrupted as many times as there are orbs. This orb
Wild.
also allows you to get 2 corrupted implicits, and has a much lower chance to brick the item. It can be a very useful tool for seeking specific corrupted
Junge, die
implicit
gehen alle drauf? Nee,
Of
manchmal nicht,
course,
oder?
if
Manchmal
you
gehen auch
push your
welche
luck,
weg.
you can still ruin the item.
Ah, okay.
There are also crafting sprees
Also da kann man
where you
richtig
still need to
reingreeden
provide an
dann, ne?
item, but those items
What
are
the
generally
fuck?
more accessible and it occurs less frequently. This one allows you to bring your own normal rarity item, then just go ballistic with a whole ton of scouring orbs and orbs of chance, hoping to get your ideal unique. For most sprees, the rank of the syndicate member increases the amount of currency provided, the quality of the pre-generated items, and the time allowed to craft your item. Aside from the crafting sprees, there are other new options too. If you love gambling for currency, how about you try opening Varici's Emperor's Luck chests? These work just like the Emperor's Luck divination card and provide full stacks of currency. If you're lucky enough, unlike me, you could end up with a whole lot of divines. Betrayal is a good source of veiled items. Veiled items have some important quality of life improvements in this expansion too. All of the crafting bench options normally granted by unveiling items are instead now moved to the core game, so you don't need to run Betrayal to unlock them. They are instead found at the entrances
sind
to
einfach
boss
da?
rooms in in-game maps.
Och
On top
nö.
of that, you no longer need to speak to Jun to unveil items.
Ja, okay.
You can just right-click them, or the equivalent on gamepad, and select which veiled modifier you want to unveil.
Aber geht nach wie vor noch beides, ne?
Overall, Betrayal is now much more streamlined and more rewarding. Happy interrogations.
Shut up!
Now, before we get into our quality of life additions, let's
Total
quickly
der
talk
Patch.
about some character balance. We will be doing our regular character balance changes, where we are bringing outliers in line to help evolve the meta, but we are also focusing our attention on buffing some specific things. This includes spellcasting supports that specifically enhance self-casting builds, channeled spells, adding new options to the Guardian, Berserker, Elementalist, Saboteur, and Champion Ascendancy classes, which include some favorites from some of the alternate classes from Legacy of Frisia,
Oh.
and buffing a whole bunch of transfigured gems that never really hit the mark. Combined with the new
Geil.
ending crafting, improved betrayal crafting options, rune graphs for your passive tree, new Pinnacle unique items, new modifiers and Trathan gems from the mercenaries, and of course the mercenaries themselves to act as an extension to your character, it's safe to say there's a lot of new character
Wahnsinn,
options
oder?
and builds to think about. Instead of delving into all of these in more detail, we figured we'd just let you absorb them through the patch notes so you can do it at your own pace. In the Secrets of the Atlas expansion, we've also added a lot of the quality of life features that we know you've all been asking for. A lot of these have already been posted, but let's take a look now in case you missed any.
Hör auf. Quality
You
of
can now
life.
pause the game at any time by pressing escape to open the menu,
Pausing, ja.
or by opening any full screen interface, like the passive tree. You'll also
Jetzt
be
WASD
paused if
kommt,
any
ne?
lag is detected or if you disconnect. It's worth noting that in certain Pinnacle arenas, a debuff will be applied to you that prevents you from pausing. We're also making a change to how you use currency items on strongboxes
Oh,
and
das ist
monsters
auch wie in
imprisoned
PoE 2?
instances. Based on the currency in your inventory and the state of the strongbox, these buttons will appear.
Ja, das ist halt
Valuable
auch
currency
geil.
like divine orbs have been excluded from this as it would often be wasteful to use in this context. The same
Ist geil,
applies
dass
to
die Vines nicht
essences
drauf
with the
sind.
remnant of corruption currency.
Aber das ist geil, dass sie das auch in PoE 1
Orbs of
jetzt bringen.
Horizon have been updated. They can now reroll your Elder and Conqueror Guardian maps. Doing so will reroll the base map and the Guardian of that map. The map device now has a small additional inventory. This is particularly useful if you're rolling many maps to run in sequence, or if you want to use varying amounts of scarabs or
Was?
other map fragments. During
Kannst
breach
einfach Maps da drin
encounters,
storen?
all the splinters will be automatically collected and dropped at the end of the breach.
Ja, okay. Auch wie
On
in PoE 2?
gamepads, we have separated the targeting of monsters and non-monsters, so you are able to target them independently. This removes a bunch of frustration when you are trying to interact with objects in the world and monsters are nearby. You no longer have to kill all of them first. Vendor windows will now remember your last search. This is remembered until you log out and is remembered on a per NPC basis. The amount of characters you can type in the search field has also been increased. When using currency
it's
items,
curriculum.
after right-clicking them, it will highlight all other items which that currency can be used on. There are many other quality of life improvements, so keep an eye on the patch notes after this livestream concludes. Alongside the launch of Secrets of the Atlas, we are hosting a competitive event where players will race to be the first to kill the new Pinnacle bosses.
Kein Wir, ja, aber war fast
The
klar.
event will take place in the
Das wird vorher auch schon
hardcore,
gesagt,
solo
dass es schwer umzusetzen
self-found
ist.
Mercenaries of Trathis League. We have some interesting
Wäre halt nur
prizes in
richtig big
store for the
gewesen, ne?
winners. Keep an eye on
Vielleicht
the
steht's
news in
nachher
the
in den
lead up to
Patch
launch
Notes.
for more details about how the event will work and what its prizes are. Next up, we're going to be talking about our new League supporter packs. Today, we're launching two new series of supporter packs, the Frisian Magistrate and Crypt Keeper packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive
Geld.
microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Frisian Magistrate series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. The Frisian Magistrate character effect will bind your character in thorny vines and roses. You can select which parts of the character you want to have covered, either your entire body, your lower body, or your upper body. As you approach waypoints, it will emit leaves and golden petals towards it. When activating the waypoint, it will create a burst around you. Envelop your weapon in thorny vines and golden flora with the Frisian Magistrate weapon effect. Your weapon will also create a trail to match as you swing, and even comes with its own hit effect when slaying enemies. You are the law while wearing the armor of the powerful Frisian Grand Magistrate. The Spider Blossom pet activates its defense mechanism, disguising it as an elegant flower when near rare or unique enemies. The Frisian Imperial Magistrate back attachment comes in 2 forms.
Oh,
Equip either the Tombstone variant, which will leave
Aber ja.
tombstones in your honor when you meet your demise,
lol.
or equip the Cape variant to cause the corpses of slain enemies to become enveloped in rose-thorn vines and blossom with golden flowers.
Das ist aber cool.
Keep track of how well, or poorly, your ultimatums with the Trial Master have gone with the Trials of Chaos hideout decoration. It will keep track of the total number of waves completed, the total number of ultimatums succeeded, or even failed. On top of that, it will track the total number
Dieser
of
Altar
times
sieht
you
heftig
defeated
aus.
the Trial Master himself.
Das ist doch dieser Sacrificial Altar aus
Pack
PoE
series
2.
also contains
Wo man das
6
Herz opfert,
exclusive
oder?
microtransactions.
Das war doch genau der.
With the
War das ein
Crypt Keeper
Map-Device?
finisher effect, death itself will tear through into the realm of the living and steal the soul of slain unique enemies. The Crypt Keeper portal effect creates a gateway for lost souls to pass through.
Junge, das Portal ist big.
Become the true master of the undead by wearing the hallowed Crypt Keeper armor set. It comes with a more
Die
armored
Rüstung ist irgendwie
helmet
hässlich.
variant and a creepy mask with a spectral hood.
Ja,
Looking to
fand ich
have
jetzt auch
some
nicht so
fun during
berauschend.
idle time in your hideout? The Burrowing Bramble Bash hideout decoration will test your reaction speed as you try to whack
Ich
as
möchte
many
das
Devourer
haben.
heads as possible in the shortest
Junge.
time. It also comes with a scoreboard, so you can try to set new records to show off to your friends or just visitors coming to trade. Equip yourself with the Ghostly Dead as you ride the line between the living and the dead with the Sacred
Okay,
Crypt
das
Keeper
Cape sieht aber geil aus.
The Sacred Archives map device resembles a magical
Boah.
library with the works of scholars that come to life.
Ey,
when you
das
open a
finde ich ein
map.
richtig geiles
This
Map-Device.
map device tracks how many of each core league you've completed in in-game maps.
Ah.
These packs are now available for purchase on both PC and console.
Boah, also ich
and
glaube,
will
das zweite
remain
Set
so
finde ich
during
cooler.
Path of Exile, Mercenaries,
Kommt mal
and
raus, findet ihr das
Travelers.
erste oder das zweite Set cooler?
Additionally, any microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 2. Meanwhile, the Paladin and Penance packs leave the store forever at the launch of the Mercenaries of Trathis League. So now's your last chance to purchase them. Additionally, the Dawn of the Hunt mystery box will be made
hab das
available for
andere.
Path of Exile 1. If you have already unlocked any microtransactions from this box in Path of Exile 2, you will of course immediately have access to them in Path of Exile 1.
Geil.
Thank you so much for your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D. Afterwards,
Ma.
we'll post the full patch notes for Path of Exile, Secrets of
Hammer.
the Atlas. With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll
Hammer-Patch.
need for the release.
Hammer-Patch.
Keep an eye on the news. Thanks
Also
for
ich hab
joining us
Bock.
today and checking out
Ich
our
hab
latest
Bock.
developments. We're looking forward to dueling mercenaries,
Ich hab Bock.
fighting new pinnacle bosses in the endgame, and exploring the new crafting systems and character builds next week. We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Hammer. Hammer. Ich glaube, das ist gerade der Premier. Ich kann ja mal auf 20 von mir aus runtergehen. Hammer-Patch, ey. WTF. Wahnsinn. Wahnsinn.